Joining us now is comedian Alex Stein. Alex, it is great to see you again.
Always a pleasure. I love coming on here, Gabriella. It's been too long. I'm happy. I feel like I've missed you, so I'm happy to be back.
We've missed you as well. There's so much to talk about, but let's start with Tim Walz. He's been accused of ignoring warnings amid this massive fraud scandal in his state. Hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars funding lavish lifestyles, going overseas to different people, and reportedly in the hands of terrorists. And of course, many of the people charged in this scandal, they're part of the Somali community. And Tim Walz was asked about this, asked about the fraud scandal, and his answer was, we can't demonise a certain group. That's an interesting thing to say, given the comments he's made in the past. Let's listen to him.
And this type of language. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. And when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back.
What we should demonize is people like Elon Musk.
Although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Alex, he's sick. I mean, last year we watched the media really try to pump him up, saying he was a moderate and he's just, the nice guy. And really, he's kind of promoting violence.
Oh, 100%. And you look at what's happening to his state. It's the whole culture is totally different. And let's just talk about Tim Walz for a second. He lied about how when he was in battle, he carried a gun. When really he was a reserve in Europe that never even had to fire one shot in his entire military service. So the guy's a liar. He's a fraud, has a lot of connections to China. Now he's, basically doing the legwork for Somalia. So this guy cares about America last. He's not an American first candidate. And we know this because he's a Democrat. But what I like about this is that the Dems are finally turning on Tampon Tim right now, so it's good to see the left eat their own. And, the fact that he's a fraud, we knew he was a fraud during his campaign, so I'm not surprised whatsoever that he's involved in some nefarious activity.
Look, it's interesting you say the Dems are turning on him. We'll wait and see how many. I was speaking earlier on the show with Army Horowitz, and we were talking about, as we all learn more about this scandal, some parts of the media, the leftist media, they don't want to touch it. They want to keep protecting Tim Walz. I mean, ABC's World News Tonight, NBC's Nightly News, and CBS Evening News have not mentioned Tim Walz by name in the past week, according to reports. They also haven't mentioned the terms Somalia and Somalian. They were not used in any of the three network newscasts. I mean, it's a huge part of the story.
It's like a huge story, but that's what the Mockingbird media is here in America. And when you talk about the Mockingbird media, in the 60s, it was declassified that there's CIA representatives in every form of media here in America. So I'm telling you, these CBS, all of these legacy media outlets not covering this, it's because it goes against the narrative that they want the American people to hear and see. So once again, the news that we get in America is fake, and I am very thankful that we have people like yourselves at Sky News Australia that will actually cover this, because this is a blatant cover-up to protect their own party, when in reality the news is supposed to be unbiased, but that's not the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it is. It's of course supposed to be. Alex, I want to get your thoughts on the FBI Director Kash Patel, because the New York Post is reporting that FBI Director Kash Patel and his deputy Dan Bongino are facing criticism from an alliance of active duty and retired agents days after the White House denied reports that the president could be firing Kash Patel. Now, Patel apparently has been criticised over his behaviour in Salt Lake City after Charlie Kirk's assassination. He's accused of giving premature public remarks that potentially jeopardise the investigation. I want to get your thoughts on this. Kash Patel, he recently gave an interview about Thomas Crooks, who's of course accused of trying to assassinate Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. But he gave that interview after reports from the New York Post and others about Thomas Crooks, and they exposed parts of Thomas Crooks' online history. I think many Americans would just like more answers, more transparency. What do you make of this report?
This is a tough question because I'm friends with Kash. I've known Kash for, a few years now, and I like Kash personally, but when you get nominated to be the top cop, I mean, the head of the FBI, this is a position where most of the people there are not going to be happy. You know, they're not going to like that you basically usurp their power, because these people have been working at the agency for 20 years, and you know, you are basically a podcaster with your Dan Bongino or Kash Patel. So I can see how as soon as they got in there was going to be a lot of friction. But when it comes to what they've done while they've been in office, while they have been, you know, leading the FBI, nobody's satisfied with any of the transparency surrounding Charlie Kirk, surrounding Thomas Crooks, surrounding the Epstein files. It's been a terrible disaster. And to add insult to injury, which I love Kash, and I'm good friends with his girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, now they're filing a lawsuit against podcasters that are critiquing them. So I think that, you know, once you are in the spotlight and to the level that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino is, even their loved ones, you know, they're going to catch some strays. And I really don't think it's a good look for Kash Patel to be suing, you know, mid-level podcasters. So there's a lot of issues that need to be corrected. I hope he doesn't lose his job. I hope he has time to fix it. But, you know, so far their resume has not been very good.
I agree with you. I really do. Now, let's talk about Rosie O'Donnell, a favorite. And she's given her kids Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, and she's blaming it on Donald Trump. Listen to this.
My daughter is now saying, damn him, damn Trump, and smashing her hand on the table. And I said, wow, honey, what are you thinking? And she said, he made us move in order for our own safety. And it's now he's destroying the country. You know, listen, she lives here. She hears what I'm saying to you. Not that I go around speaking like this every day if it's not an interview, but I think to myself, you don't want to give this to her. You know, whatever this thing.
She does. She does go around speaking like that every day. We've heard too much of her. I mean, they were poor children listening to Rosie O'Donnell every day on the, you know, in a different country and still getting, you know, worse and worse TDS.
No, they've definitely been brainwashed by their mother. And I miss the Rosie O'Donnell who used to have the #1 hit show that used to be funny, that used to be laughable. Because, you know, for a female comedian, Rosie O'Donnell was at the top of her game at one point, and now she has such bad Trump derangement syndrome, her children are being infected by it. So she needs to go back to being funny and try to make her kids laugh. And you know what? As her daughter, I probably would be a little frustrated they had to move, and my mom told me that I was constantly under threat. So, you know, I'm very empathetic to her young daughter for all the trauma-based mind control that her mother has put her through.
Alex. Now we're getting to Christmas, the best time of the year, of course. But if we need any reminding that the White House got an upgrade this year, this is how Melania is celebrating Christmas. Look at this video. It's beautiful. I mean, Melania has so much class. Decorations are absolutely beautiful. But if we need reminding that this woke era is over, let's just look at what Jill Biden did to promote Christmas. So bad. Alex, you can't compare it.
No, I mean, I will be honest. I do not think there was enough drag queens in Melania's Christmas debut. That's the one thing that we're missing. We need about 10 more drag queens. No, and the reality of the situation, you know, you could maybe critique Donald Trump on some things. I think there's some fair criticism. But when it comes to style and class and design and just, you know, making stuff beautiful, Donald Trump is an expert when it comes to just making stuff look nice. And, you know, I think people were criticizing how nice he made the Oval Office look. I think it looks awesome with all the gold. So Melania and Trump, you had to give it to them. They're first class all the way when it comes to decorating.
They absolutely are. And the White House has thrown its first Christmas party. Here is Donald Trump.
I just want to let you know it's an honor for me to be your president. The people in this room, you took the place of a lot of people that wanted to be here, so I congratulate you. You either had friends or relatives or somebody that got you in here. How are you, my friend? Look at him. But it's an honor to be your president. We're going to do a great job. And, you know, we have a little more than 3 years left, and 3 years for Trump is an eternity. That's a long period of time. But you're very special, and this is a very, very special place.
An eternity of President Trump. Watch the media go into meltdown about that, Alex.
Well, they are going to get mad because, you know, that is the rumor that Donald Trump is, you know, he's going to secretly run for vice president with J.D. Vance, and then he can kind of be the de facto president for another 4 years or potentially 8 years if J.D. Vance runs twice. So I don't know if any of that is going to happen, but I do know that Donald Trump has 3 years, and I hope that these next 3 years he makes America great again, because I'll be honest, you know, the first year has not been excellent. I would say it's probably been a B. We need to get back into the A's, Donald. We really got to, you know, make this country great again.
Finally, Charlie Kirk is now in Times Square in New York City. He's being seen by thousands of people. Let's take a look at this clip. I mean, New York City just got a little bit brighter with this vision of Charlie Kirk. There he is. Thousands of people would be seeing it every single day. Alex, I think what I love about this is that there are, of course, Americans who we had to watch, who were celebrating and mocking the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I think some of those crazy, deranged people will have to walk past and they'll look up and they'll see Charlie.
You know, now you go around and Charlie Kirk is more famous than he ever was when he was alive, which is, you know, it's a sad thing. It's a good thing. And people seeing him up there, I hope it'll kind of encourage him to be more outspoken and to be unapologetically themselves, because Charlie was not a bigot. He was not a racist. No. He was not all of the labels that they try to, you know, put on him. But one thing he was a free speech absolutist. So, you know, we need more people that are willing to have tough conversations. And I love that he's in New York City. That's a place that they need some good faith-based leadership, and you know, the reminder of Charlie I think that'll be a positive influence on a city that's, you know, really gone to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, they need it, absolutely. Alex Stein, so great to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you guys again soon.